and beyond. We are experiencing wonderful opportunities to travel, and every trip I have had with Road Scholar has been amazing. So I am working on putting together a trip this summer for women with Road Scholar going to Quebec. And if you're interested in joining us on this trip, or even just finding out some more information about it, drop me an email at wendy@heyboomer.biz, and I will send you more information. I also want to tell you about my new favorite online magazine called Crunchy Tales. Crunchy Tales is the first illustrated magazine for Crunchy Tales is the first illustrated magazine for unconventional late bloomers, founded by lifestyle journalist Michela DiCarlo. On a mission to reframe midlife as a time of renaissance rather than winding down, it's packed with helpful tips, clever ideas, and great advice for today's busy women. Crunchy Tales is designed to inspire and inform. It's an antidote to ageism and boring cliches. It's your one-stop destination for modern women who don't believe in the midlife crisis and want to get the most out of life. So sign up for Crunchy Updates and download your free pocket guide on how to age playfully from crunchytales.com/join-us. All right, let's meet Jill and Chris. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
So nice to have you on the show today.
It's good to be here.
Thanks so much.
Let me do a brief introduction so that people know a little bit more about you before we get started. So Jill McCauslin retired from doing technical writing and instructional design, and Chris Brown is a marketing consultant to manufacturing companies and professional services firms. They hit their 50s, lost weight, became fit, and discovered that running and lifting weights can be a lot of fun. They got fit in their 50s, and they plan to stay fit and strong well into their 60s and beyond. Jill and Chris decided to create an online community called Becoming Elli, which is dedicated to becoming and staying fit by gaining strength and having fun at the same time. They investigate different ideas about fitness, food, and general health on their podcast. Their friendship became a great way to have a buddy for running and discussing nutrition and comparing gym workouts. And one day they were discussing their future plans and discovered that they both wanted to start a blog, podcast, community for women like themselves. And from that conversation, Becoming Elli was born. So ladies, who is Elli and how are you becoming Elli?
Well, Elli is the Norse goddess of aging, and probably your listeners have not heard of her before. I didn't until I found out that she beat Thor in a wrestling match.
Wow.
Yeah. So we want to be like Elli, right, Jill?
Right. So besides the beating Thor in a wrestling match part, so it's Becoming Elli because we are wanting to become fit and strong. We want to be like Elli.
Great. So you decided in your 50s or when your 50th birthday that this was going to be a new goal for you to become fit and strong. What motivated you to do that?
For me, I mean, there was probably numerous reasons, and I don't think it was actually on my birthday, but I went to a holiday party somewhere and somebody took a photograph of the group, a impromptu photo, and then posted it on the company website. And I saw myself and thought, oh my, I don't look very good. I just did not look healthy. I looked bloated, and I was really upset actually that it was front and center on the website.
What about you, Chris?
Well, for me, when I turned 50, I went to the doctor and expected him fully to say, you need to get a colonoscopy, because you hear about that all the time. But instead, he looked me right in the eye and he said, you need to lose weight.
Oh
And I was a
gosh.
little bit shocked because I thought I carried it well, as they say. I said, well, I've been trying to lose weight for years on and off. And how do you suggest that? And he said, well, why don't you try Weight Watchers? So it took me 5 years on Weight Watchers because I decided I'm going to lose this slowly, because I gained it slowly. I mean, it just kind of came on a couple ounces here, a couple ounces there over the years. And I really was not, I was more focused on my kids and not focused on myself. And so it took me 5 years to lose 72 pounds. And
Oh.
I've gained some of that back, but not a whole lot when you consider that was 11, 12 years ago now. So I found it was a lot harder to do the maintenance than the losing,
Mhm.
because there's
Really
not that
interesting.
many resources.
Yeah. So Jill, you pictures are awful. We hate when they show us uh,
Yes, they
reality.
are.
Yeah. So what was your first step? What did you do?
I so I did a fair number of things. I would try something, and when it quit working for me, I would move on to something else. But I think the first thing I did was I joined the YMCA that was near me, and they had a program where you would meet with a trainer. The trainer would gave me a workout to do, regularly. And then I met with a dietitian who would
Ah,
um go through what I was eating and make suggestions, and, that was a great way to start. And then I think I moved, and that ended, and at some point, I was working at a place where they had Weight Watchers, so I joined then, and what I liked about Weight Watchers was the community. I liked going to the meetings and having people that were doing the same thing, so that was good. And then I've done other things at other gyms. I've always sort of tried to combine the physical exercise with the actual food part of losing weight and getting fit. Um, and
but
so I've just done different things.
yeah. So were either one of you athletes when you were younger?
No.
So the idea of like joining a gym and starting to exercise, how was that?
Well, I'd been in a gym on and off for many years. I mean, I wasn't an athlete, but I was in band and I played tuba. So that was lifting 17 pounds. We would do all those little dances and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lifting weights, when it's over your head and huge. But, going to the gym, I know there were years where I'd still pay for that gym membership and I felt like I really wasn't getting much out of it. And then when I did go to the gym, I'd maybe get on the elliptical because I didn't know how
Oh
to
yeah.
use a lot of the things, or I felt
Right.
embarrassed to ask. And, it's funny when you go to the gym all the time, you feel comfortable. But when you're just starting out, there can be an intimidation factor for sure.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure. And I see that a lot with people that I see at the gym. So I'm wondering, how would you advise people to get started with the gym kind of, or do they have to go to a gym to start getting fit and strong?
Well, I'll jump in, okay, Jill.
Yep.
I think going to a gym is very helpful in that it's part of a routine. If you stay at home and do things, some people are very disciplined that way and will actually do it. But when you have a class or you have someone that you're going to meet up with, a friend, or you've signed up for an orientation or something with a personal trainer, there's a commitment there that you'll show up. Going through the
Mhm.
door is the hardest part of going to a gym. It really is getting through that door. So,
I think so. If you are, you probably do not have to go to a gym, but if you're going to join a gym and it's intimidating, there is nothing wrong with your first time going being that you walk in the door, look around, turn around, and go home. because you've gone to the gym.
That's a win. That's a
And then
win.
maybe the second time you go in, you look around and you go get on a treadmill and walk on it and just watch and see what people are doing. And you can slowly build from there. I think it also helps at a gym that you can usually get a trainer to show you how to do things. You can also usually find a class that is geared to your level. Um, so those things help. But remember one time I just joined an aqua aerobics class at my local school at the school.
Mm,
And when I went, I was probably actually in my 40s then, and I was probably 20 years younger than everyone in the class. But it was great because I didn't know what I was doing, and I it was just a good way to go because I had signed up and I would go twice a week to the pool and do this class. Um,
yeah.
I think it's the commitment that makes it. And I know personally, if I say I'm gonna do a YouTube video, mm, I get maybe halfway through it and I think, "Well, maybe I'll go get some water now," or
Right, right. I find the same thing when I go to the gym. Once I get started and warmed up, then I'm like, oh, one more stretch, one more of this, one more of that. I just kind of get into it once
Right.
I'm there. I'm more intimidated by the classes because then I look around and I'm like, oh, look how good they're doing, and I'm just not even close.
I like the classes because you can kind of hide in the back and watch everyone else to get the motions. The ones that really intimidate me are the dancing classes because I'm always afraid I'm going to go the wrong direction and crash into someone.
Right, right. Or fall or something.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not too worried about falling, although maybe I should be. I don't know.
Trip over your feet. So you becoming Ellie is also to make this whole fit and strong lifestyle more fun, right? So
Absolutely.
how do you make exercise and eating right fun?
Well, part of it is having a support system, a support group. Jill mentioned something about when she went to Weight Watchers, the meetings. And I found the meetings to be very motivational too. But once you hit your goal, it's not really much for maintenance there. And so, we formed Becoming Ellie. We have a private Facebook group, and that's really where we encourage and support each other, with different ideas and, you know, everybody's trying to challenge themselves from wherever they are to get to, fitness and healthy lifestyles. So, we encourage each other, and it is fun.
What do you say, Jill?
I would agree with that. We've done things like we had the veggie challenge a couple of years ago, which, all right, that doesn't maybe sound all that much fun, but I found myself going to the grocery store. I was actually taking pictures of vegetables because the challenge was to find either a new vegetable, have something that you had never had before, or a new recipe. Find a new way of preparing something that you already eat. And so, I found these like amazing radishes I had never seen before. And I'm standing in the grocery store taking pictures and posting them online, like, look at these radishes.
That's
So
fun.
it was fun. It's fun to have people to support you and um,
Learn new things.
learn new things. And I guess the other part of that is I like to sign up for so, like, when I was, for running, I like to sign up for a race because, like, to do a 5K is usually a lot of fun. The you know, and even if you especially in a way if you're in the back because there's no pressure on you to be fast.
It's
But
definitely party in the back on those
it's yeah,
5Ks.
so they're fun, but it also is a motivator to get out the door and train because you've signed up for something, and there's something about paying your $25 that just is a motivational thing.
Okay, so I have to challenge you on running because I have never liked running. Even as a kid when we had to run in school and I couldn't breathe and then I would get shin splints as I got, it's like, how do you possibly learn to run in a way that doesn't hurt and is fun?
Right.
Well, I did not run ever in my life. Um until I decided that I was trying to lose weight, get healthy, and I did a Couch to 5K program, and I never wanted anyone to see me, so I would go out at 10 o'clock at night and run in my neighborhood in the dark so that the neighbors were all in bed.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and so it took me a long time before I would run in the daytime in public. But and so that maybe doesn't sound fun, and it probably really wasn't in a way, but it was actually very satisfying to accomplish it.
Hmm.
Um, I think
So,
that was it. It was not, I mean, it's not particularly, when you start off every time I start off running, I think, "Why am I doing this? I hate this. This is hard. You're right, I can't breathe." But if you keep going, there was someone on the Becoming Elli group who said, "The first mile of any run is the worst." And
See,
so you
for
have to
me,
sort
it
of
is. It's the first 8
yeah,
minutes, and
you think,
that
"Why
it
am
takes
I
me a
out
lot
here? What
longer
am
than
I
8 minutes to do a
doing?"
mile. Right.
Um, and then, I mean, so I do think it's worth trying, and if you really dislike running, that's okay. The important thing is to find what you do like to do. And so if you could give running a try, but if you don't want to, then maybe take up cycling or go to there's a spin class at the gym or something that might, or
mhm.
swimming. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, just find, there is probably nothing that if you aren't exercising that is going to be fun when you start it, but you have to sort of commit to just doing it for a while. And, even if it's yoga, the first yoga class you go to, you feel like you have 2 left feet and everyone else knows what they're doing, and I'm like worried everyone's standing on 1 foot and I'm falling over. That's, you can't, anything you do, you have to do at least a few times to give it a try.
Yeah, that's a good point. So this Couch to 5K helps you kind of learn the
It
technique
it
and
start Yeah, so you start with, it'll say run for 30 seconds and now walk for 2 minutes, and it works you
oh,
through, increasing your running ability. Um, the other thing was, mine was a 9-week program, but when I first was doing it, it was I would start the next week and it would be too challenging for me. So my 9-week program probably took me double the time because I would often repeat a week just to build up
but you
the
stuck with it.
I did, yeah. And
Well, I
then
think it's sort of like most things, they're not designed for women over 50. It's designed for the 30-year-old guy. So many things that we hear about for exercise, it is designed for a young man in the most part. And, so I think taking a little more time and being very gentle with yourself is a very important point.
yeah.
That is a good point. Thank you, Chris. That takes some of the guilt out or the disappointment out of feeling like we're not good enough or able to do it. Yeah. Um, so you guys did not know each other when you both started on this journey, right?
I knew of Jill because we lived in the same town and we both owned our own business. So I knew her as an entrepreneur, but we didn't know each other. It wasn't
Right.
until we rented a shared workspace in an office and that we just casually were talking about things that we got to know a little bit more about each other.
And we had both sort of started the running, and
Yeah.
so we decided, well, in fact, we decided we were going to sign up for a 5K together, and then it turned out it was 5 miles,
Right.
which
Oh,
is which is 2 miles longer than a 5K, and
uh-oh.
we sort of looked at each other and said,
Uh-oh.
I said, "I have never run that far," and Chris said, "I haven't either," but then we decided, "Well, okay, we'll give it a try."
Yeah.
And we did it. It was a lot of fun. That was a Christmas one, and we had to wear ugly Christmas sweaters. So,
Jill
You
uh,
will run.
ran.
And I must say, Jill won. We both were finalists, but Jill won the best sweater.
oh yeah.
Congratulations, Jill.
It was so fun.
So from that, where did you finally decide that you guys wanted to do a podcast or a blog? How did that happen?
Go ahead, Jill, you tell.
Well, so we had been doing things together running wise and fitness wise. Plus, we worked in the same office area and we would talk about things, but we would go out often and just go for a walk or whatever. And we did that one day. And one of us said, I've been thinking about starting this community for women like we are. And because I don't remember which one of us said it first, but the other one said, "Oh, I've been thinking the same thing." And we decided it would be a lot easier to do it together than to do it separately, and that was definitely true. We've been doing this for a long time now. How many years, Chris? 6?
Well, we launched the website in 2017. We've been doing a lot of things together even before that, but it was difficult to find any place that would really support women over 50 trying to, maintain a weight loss and get healthy and fit, and strong. So we thought that would be kind of a cool thing. And there are lots of women that are in that situation that we found through our podcasts and our blog, our private group, and our social media.
Yeah, so you kind of created something that you wished had been there for
Right.
Yes,
you.
we could not
Yes.
find it. So, there are other podcasts and websites now that are in the same area, but, we at the time could not find anything. So we
Right.
just started our own.
And so what have you enjoyed about having this Becoming Ellie community and the Fit and Strong podcast?
Well, for me, it's meeting all these amazing women, whether it's an expert in exercise or nutrition or, someone who has done some really amazing things. Interviewing our guests has probably been one of the funnest parts of doing the whole Becoming Ellie community, but also the women that, just like us that are working to be fit and strong and, 65, 66 years old, all of a sudden they realize, wow, I want to be stronger as I age because there's so many benefits to it.
Yeah, I think that's like you got to find your why, right? So why become fit and strong? And certainly it helps us live a better life longer so that we don't, just get old. I love what Wendy Battle said. She loves the community building from running. I think the community that you've built with Becoming Ellie and the community that you're building with the Fit and Strong Women Over 50, it's good to feel like you're part of something.
Yes. And everyone says now that women need to, I mean, you need cardio, you need that exercise, but you also need the strength training or resistance training to help keep your muscles so you don't lose your muscles, keep your bones healthy, that kind of thing. And for many of us, we did not do that when we were young. In fact, women were discouraged from lifting weights for many years. So it's something that many of us struggle with or we feel inadequate about, and
Mm.
it's a good way to encourage each other and give each other some support and advice, like it is perfectly okay to start off with doing sit-ups or push-ups or whatever, however you wanna do them. You don't have to be out there deadlifting 200 pounds or whatever.
Right. So part of what you're talking about too is nutrition. And I've heard some of your shows that, and they've talked about intermittent fasting or, high protein, low carb, all veggie, vegan, whatever. How do you decide what is the best diet for you?
I think it's sort of what I was saying about giving something a try and then deciding if it was for you as far as the exercise. It's the same thing with food. Whatever your goal is to try something, and if it's working, great, and if it's not, then tweak it or try something else. What has really become very clear in talking with all of these people is that what works for me may not work for you and maybe something different for Chris. So we hear a lot of don't eat gluten, don't eat dairy, eat a lot of vegetables. Other people say, make sure you eat the meat and protein and get your eggs or whatever. It really comes down to what works and also what you like. It is silly to say, I'm only going to eat foods that I don't really enjoy.
Right.
If you
That's
don't
like
enjoy it, you won't
exercise.
stick with it,
Well,
right?
I was
Right.
on this thing where we weren't supposed to be eating fruit for a while. And
Yeah.
I one day thought, I live in Ohio. One
Right.
thing about Ohio is we have wonderful apples in the fall. And why am I doing something that says don't eat an apple? That's crazy.
Right.
So I never said I'm never eating apples again because it just didn't make sense to me. I want to
Yeah.
enjoy them.
Right. And I think that's good advice. And it's a very much like you said about exercise. Find what works for you. So pickleball seems to be the big thing now. Have you guys taken up pickleball?
I did. I took a few lessons, and then shortly thereafter, I started having a problem with my hand, totally unrelated. So I haven't picked it back up again, but I plan to this winter as things get better for my hand.
Mm.
But
Have you tried
I
it, Jill?
I have not. I keep talking about it, and I asked one friend of mine if she wanted to take it up, and she has a depth perception problem. And
Oh, dear.
she said, "I don't think that's a good sport for me. Flying objects coming at my face is not
yeah, you
what I
really
wanna
have
do."
to find what you love. And once you find that, it's like falling off a log. You feel like a kid again. It's kind of like you're in the flow. You get to do something fun, and it's more like play rather than work. When things are work, you have to do it. But as a child, we did a lot of exercise, but it was play, you know.
It's interesting you say that because you heard me talk about Crunchy Tales at the beginning. I was reading an
Mm,
article on in their this month's magazine, and it talked about the importance of play and
yes.
how good it is for our mental health, our physical health, our longevity health. So if we're just drudgery trying to force ourselves to eat right and exercise,
Yeah,
and there's
It
got to be a sense of fun to it.
it
absolutely.
there is absolutely no reason to do something that makes you miserable. So, as I said, you have to give something a fair try, but if it isn't what you wanna do, then don't do it. I mean, you have to make the commitment that I wanna be healthy and that entails doing certain things that maybe it isn't as enjoyable at the moment than as I think it might be, but you can still find things that bring you pleasure.
So when you guys go to the gym, do you
Mhm.
typically go together or have somebody that you meet there?
We actually belong to different gyms. We
Okay.
like different things. I guess, that's part of it too, even though we live nearby. But it's funny, once you start going to the gym, pretty soon you know people and they're looking for you and you're looking for them and you get to know them a little bit. It becomes another way of building community.
Yeah, it's amazing how many women I talk to in the locker room. Uh,
Right.
I was having a conversation and this woman said to me, "I really admire you." And I said, "Well, I
Oh,
really admire you." So,
that's nice.
yeah,
That's
it
nice.
was yes. Yeah.
There's a woman that I've recently met at the gym that has totally inspired me because she is walking with a cane. She has a brace on her leg. She's, really working on just becoming mobile again.
Right.
And she's there every day on the bike, with where you
The
move your arms
elliptical.
also. Well, it's the
Oh, the
bike.
bicycle. Okay.
Yeah, where you also move your arms. And she's determined. And I was like, wow, just to even get up and out of the house when you're,
Right.
struggling like that is so inspiring.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, when you guys started this, were you feeling as knowledgeable or have you learned a lot from your guests?
Oh, I have learned so much. And
Right.
and just like saying about the woman at your gym who you admire, you talk to people who are dealing with so many issues or things, and they are just doing incredible things. So, I've learned so much from people.
One of the things that I've learned is to not try to do everything at once. Like you'll get really inspired to make these goals and try to get them all done. And I find that I just go from zero to, poof, 0 to 60 to nothing, where baby steps for me. I've discovered that about myself, and talking to different people. That's one of the things that a lot of them say is just make a few changes at once and then a few more, and find out what you like, and then try to adapt that and make some more changes. And every time you build a habit and start to do more, you feel a little bit stronger, a little bit fitter.
Yeah, I think that kind of mirrors what Wendy said here. Start from where you are.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Don't try and like be a hero right from the beginning. Heidi had a question. She asks if Becoming Elli is a co-ed community, or is it just for women?
No, it is just women. I mean, there are a few men who listen to the podcast, but our Becoming Elli Facebook group is only women.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of your favorite guests that you've had on your show over
Go
the
ahead,
years.
Jill.
Well, I can think of a couple. We talked to Ginny McCall not that long ago. I think of in June, because she is 70, 72, something like that. And she is an American Ninja Warrior. She was on TV last summer competing in the American Ninja Warrior thing. So, and
Wow.
when you see pictures of her, if you ever watch Ninja Warriors, they have incredible upper body strength. And for a woman, she is it was just so impressive to me. It was like, wow, I would love to be like that. I want to be, so not only do I want to be like Ellie, I want to be like Ginny.
Yeah, and she didn't really get serious about it until how old was she when she really
60. She did her first
Right,
pull up when she was 65 or something.
right, right.
Wow.
She's very inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you have a favorite, Chris?
oh yeah, every time we do another guest, I think, "Oh, this one's my favorite. Oh, wait,
I know.
now this one's my favorite." But I think my favorite as a group are the people who do adventurous things. I live a little bit
Ah,
vicariously that way, and there's a woman that jumps into my mind named Tracy Lynn Martin,
oh,
and
yeah.
she kayaks all over the place. She did the Great Lakes. She kayaks solo and stays in her
Wow.
kayak, camps in her kayak,
Camps in her kayak.
She
yeah.
did the whole Mississippi River from the source to the
Oh my
ocean.
gosh.
Oh my gosh.
She kayaks up in Alaska. She's a nurse, and so she'll go to the location, work there for a while, and then kayak all over. Just an amazing, very fit, very strong, but she's got a whole different take on things. And so
Wow.
people like that, I forget how old she is, but over 50 for sure. And it gives you a whole nother sense of what's possible.
Yeah. That's one of the things I love about these shows, is to be inspired by people like you, be inspired by the guests like Wendy Battles, who's
Right.
been commenting here. You just meet people that you're like, wow, there's so many possibilities for us to take advantage of and to enjoy what's today and what's tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you could leave one or two tips for people that want to stay active, that want to continue living an exciting, vibrant next chapter, what would be your tips for them?
Mm. Well, I would say jump in where you are. A lot of people feel intimidated to go to the gym because they're not fit yet. And that could be, just jump in where you are and try to do baby steps a little bit more each time, whether it's exercise or from a healthy eating standpoint. If you just decide, I'm going to slowly give up the processed foods and slowly go on to the healthy foods. I mean, most people know what they need to do. It's just trying to start that habit and improve along the way.
So I think finding ways to support yourself. So maybe it's finding a friend to go for a walk with, or uh, even if you have a friend who doesn't want to do it, if you have a friend who at least would give you a sympathetic ear, that helps. And doing things that actually make a commitment for you. So, like me saying, I signed up for a class, and so therefore I go.
Right.
Or you pay a train. If you're paying a trainer, you're going to go because
You're
that's
going to go.
not cheap.
Financial commitment.
Yeah, that
Right.
financial commitment is a big one, but you have to figure out what motivates you, because no matter what you want to do, the day will come when you're tired and don't feel like doing it. So there has to be something beyond just relying on that motivation, because let's be honest, you're not always motivated to do what you want to be doing or should be doing or whatever. So finding things to help support you in those decisions is what helps. So if you're eating, like both, whether you join Weight Watchers or Noom or something else, or you just have friends that you share your food journey with, anything that would help give you some emotional support.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is, baby steps, first of all.
Right.
So, start where you are in baby steps, and then have that supportive community, whether it's a friend or Becoming Elli
Right.
is a supportive community. Let me show people where they can find you. So the website is Becoming Elli, and Elli is ELLI.com. So you too can become Elli,
Yeah.
and become fit and strong. And you can hear some of these amazing stories on Jill and Chris's podcast, which is Fit Strong Women Over 50. You can find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep.
Yeah, this has
Thank
been
you.
inspiring. We've had really a lot of comments and participation. So this has been great. Thank you, guys.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you
It's
for
such a
having us.
pleasure being here.
Oh, it's so good to see you two again, too. I mean, we just had so much fun out in
Yes, we
Denver.
do.
It was
Can I
great.
share one little story about that? I mean, not
Oh, of
about meeting,
course.
but one of the things when we first started doing Becoming Elli was our goal was, we said we always wanted to be able to lift our suitcases. And so when we got on the plane and we both had to lift our carry-on bags into the bins, and we both did it, and I thought, oh, that was a long time goal.
Yeah, 45 pounds in overhead into the bin, right?
So now you need a new goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Well,
that
that's
was,
one of many, actually.
yeah,
Great.
I'm sure. So, and like I said, we had so many comments. I love seeing the comments that people make while they're listening to the show and watching live, and also when they listen on podcasts. I also wanted to thank Rhonda for supporting the work I'm doing, and for her comment where she said, "Your shows always leave me with good thoughts and ideas." And she shared that comment on the Buy Me a Coffee website that I use. So if you would like to support Hey Boomer and let me know what it means to you, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/heyboomer0413, which is the date of our first show. So hopefully you will continue to support that work that we're doing. Also, when you think about travel, think about Road Scholar, and you can go to road, ROAD, roadscholar.org/heyboomer, and check out Crunchy Tales. I'm telling you, it's a great online magazine, and the graphics are gorgeous, very eye-catching and fun. And so it's crunchytales.com. And if you do /join-us, you can get their free download about playfulness, which is also fun. Let's see, next week, I'm going to be talking with futurist Bradley Sherman. So, societies all over the world are getting older, as we all know, and at some point in the near future, much of the developed world will have at least 20% of their national populations over the age of 65. Bradley Sherman calls this the super age, and how this will affect every aspect of our society as well as our own self-perceptions of aging is what we're going to talk about. So continue to embrace this time of your life with exploration, self-expression, and fulfillment. Thank you, Jill and Chris, so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having us.
It was a pleasure.
My name is